What's up, guys? Welcome back to Browns Film Breakdown, the YouTube edition here. We are going to break down some content from Baker Mayfield, everybody's favorite franchise quarterback right now. Brought on a good friend of mine, Mike Krupka here is with me. Mike and I met through Twitter, just happenstance as I moved into Browns Twitter, and we've developed a little bit of a relationship through talking schematics and his path through Dawgs by Nature. He's a contributor over there at the great site that the SB Nation link, Dawgs by Nature. I suggest that you guys go there, find all the content you can. Mike contributes there. We'll talk later about his podcast, some of the other ventures he's got going on. But Mike is one of the better voices in Browns Twitter right now. You can find him at Hawaii Browns Hui, okay, H-U-I there at the end. Mike, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing great, Jake, man. Thanks for having me on, and looking forward to the breakdown and appreciate the kind words, bro.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So we're going to jump in and look at about 5 plays of Mayfield from the last 3 weeks, right? Some of his better efforts that have really shown a shift in who he's been from midseason lull at the end of the Hugh Jackson, Todd Haley era to what he's become under Freddie Kitchens. So this is the first game that they rolled out Freddie Kitchens' offense, right? So they fired Haley and they fired Hugh that Monday, and here you go, Kitchens, make the best of it. And what I loved here is early in this game, this is actually the second snap, they decide to sell boot action. They're going to pull. You guys will see the right guard Zeitler pull out and kick, sell that boot action here. They're actually selling what's called counter up front action, right? And we get a Peyton Manning famously has named this the Squirrel Route, right? So you're getting at the bottom of the screen here, guys, you're getting a wheel comeback. It's named a Squirrel Route, and they're moving the pocket for Mayfield. So a lot of what Mayfield did at Oklahoma, they moved him around. Anytime you have a shorter quarterback, sight lines are always important, and this is a really nice wrinkle that they put in because under Haley, he didn't move the pocket very much with Mayfield, and it's nice for him to get out, get his feet set, get some rhythm, get going here. So, Mike, tell me, man, what stood out to you about this throw, this scheme in particular?
Yeah, for me, it's really the placement and the anticipation that you see from Baker on this throw. There's another clip that we'll look at later where it's shown again. So he's showing this regularly now, but the ball is out before Landry even turns around. So he has trust and confidence not only in himself but in the route. And if you look at where this ball is placed, it's by far and away elite for a rookie quarterback. I mean, these are the kind of windows that you see veteran NFL quarterbacks, throw into, and Mayfield's putting the ball right on the money while on the move. So he's taking what he did well at Oklahoma, and Kitchens is taking those things, and they're putting it out on the field.
Yeah, right. Crazy idea. You take what this guy was comfortable with in college, you give it to him at the NFL level. Yeah, bigger guys, faster players as well, but that doesn't change from a level of comfortability. And for a quarterback, that's always very important. You're going to use that skill set for something that a guy has to do a minimal amount of thinking with, and I loved it. This is a good scheme to start out this Kansas City game with, and he ended up playing a pretty good game. Okay, play 2 here, jumping to the Atlanta game now, week 10, I believe, before the bye week. We see more anticipation, which is what we want to see out of Mayfield, and this is really a veteran throw again, like Mike mentioned earlier. So you're looking at 3rd and 9, right? Early in quarter 1, this is a touchdown drive, so this is an important play to keep the drive alive. Browns will come out in 11 personnel here. They have Njoku in this wing on the top side. You have Duke Johnson in the backfield lined up offset. Single receiver Callaway, you're motioning Landry. They love to move Landry around. And what we're going to get is a variation of what is called the smash concept. When I was playing, we used to call this concept shoot, but when we went 3-by-1, we called it smash. I don't know why. It's just semantics of football. That's always fascinated me, why offenses call certain things certain names. But the concept here is you put this corner, this field corner, into a bind. So if it's zone, which you're going to get a variation of what looks like cover 3 here, right? Closed single high safety. This safety, the strong safety's down in a robber position. It's classic cover 3 look, and you're getting a cover 3 field corner. Okay, so when his hips flip upfield, what do you see? So walk me through, Mike, what do you see Mayfield doing that's impressive to you here?
Yeah, so similar to the last play we saw, he's reading the defense and using that pre-snap motion from Landry to help identify the defense. And, I broke this down and saw this a lot at Oklahoma too. He's identifying that safety and the side of the field that he wants to go to right away. And then, again, the ball is out and the ball is delivered as soon as those hips flip, like you point out. He already knows where he wants to go because he has that advantage. And again, he just anticipation, accuracy, and just the zip to put the ball again in an elite location along the boundary. It's just another great throw, well beyond the expectations of a rookie.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that has been really impressive. I think some people will talk about Mayfield's arm and they won't credit it. I think he obviously has the ability to rip the ball from hash to sideline with anybody in the league. I think it's an underrated aspect of his game. Those of us who watch him all the time appreciate, how well he throws the football. When I was at camp, this mini camp or training camp, I should say, it was from a live sideline perspective, being close to it, the ball jumps out of his hand. But anyway, the important thing here to know is this is a far throw, right? And even though the hashes are tighter in the NFL, it's still a far throw that you have to throw with anticipation. So what I like is his eyes find the corner here. Like Mike said, those Horner's hips flip to cover what he is expecting to be this number 2 receiver on some sort of downfield route. He knows the ball. Mayfield does. Ball has to come out. Now you're getting that 8 to 10 rounded corner from Landry, the top of the screen. This ball's out early before the break is made, like Mike said, and which is important. If this ball is thrown at this point right here, it's too late. That ball's already traveled 5 yards down the field now, and it's on time and on the money, and Landry makes a nice catch kind of going down and cradling it. And then you're going to see it in the end zone view here, guys. It's literally – the read is as fast as 1, 2, 3 ball. I mean, this is it's not really that challenging a read for a quarterback. You just have to read the corner where his hip's going. But it is rhythm and it is structure, and it is you got to get that ball loaded to your top shoulder quick. 1, 2, 3, load, transfer the weight, ball out, on the money, first down, right? Big play keeps that drive alive. All right, guys, jump into the Cincinnati game now. And ironically enough, I had tasked Mike with sending me some clips of things that he thought we could break down or cover that haven't been oversaturated. And this is one that I wanted to point out, partly because of ball placement, but in kind of going through this, Mike pointed out that this is an exact same replica of the concept they ran against Kansas City. And same motion from Landry, same 12 personnel, just this time we're running it to the field instead of a neutral alignment in the middle of the field. But you're going to get that same counter action with Zeitler pulling out, Chubb off of and even Baker reversing out. Typically counter in power, you get a reverse out under center. So you get that reverse out, you're selling counter play side, and you're coming back to that same squirrel route, right? He's selling the out route. Landry will stick that left, right, 1, 2, turn it upfield like he's running an out and up, and cut it there at 18, work back to 15. Typically comebacks work back 18 to 15 yards. Pretty good destination point for quarterback arm strength, all of that good stuff, right? And everything looks the same. The only problem is that first off, I think it's covered a little bit better. A big talking point with Jarvis Landry is how well does he separate, which is something that we will get into at a later point, and it's going to be what the Browns have to evaluate. But the end zone view, I think, gives us a better understanding here. So what do you think, Mike, your notes, sort of what you thought of this play? Walk me through it.
Yeah, I think very similar. This is why I picked it out. It's an identical play, like you said. The only difference is the Callaway route is different here versus the Kansas City game where it was a curl. And I'm not sure if Landry gets, if he steps on the defensive back's foot or they get caught up on his break, but that seems to really be the only reason why this wasn't a completion. Either that or he gave up on the route, which I'm really, I can't really say what happened, but you can see the elite placement there again in a spot on tight coverage where only the wide receiver can catch it. And he just does a great job of, again, identifying the coverage and ripping the ball.
Yeah, so you're coming out and really you're reading. It's pretty simple for a quarterback. I'm just reading who's covering that. If somebody drops underneath that squirrel route, I can't throw it. I'm going to have to progression to see if my post is open. And really, as you come off of this fake, Mayfield's eyes try to find Callaway, because if he can throw the post over top, or what we call this is really a divide because he's crossing the hash, you can throw it. But Bates, you can see his feet at the top of the screen is sitting on it. So he eliminates that and works his eyes. You can see his eyes literally work from Callaway to the right, right? So he reloads. This ball, quarterbacks are always taught, and I was taught this in college, and quarterbacks are taught – I taught this to my kids when I was coaching high school, is low and away. Comebacks that are tightly covered, the ball needs to be low and away. This is a perfectly accurate ball, low and away on the sideline, which you'll hear people deem as us or nobody. And for some reason, Callaway, who's usually Landry, who's usually pretty good in and out of breaks, doesn't get here. And I think he typically gets to this ball just a fraction off, but still, I count that as an accurate throw from Mayfield, and it's a scheme that they're comfortable with, and I think they'll come back to probably quite a few times this season.
So one more thing to point out, for the film junkies that are out there, we're not going to cover this play, I don't think, but the second quarter around the 12:50 mark, 3rd and 11, Baker delivers another throw on the run and I don't like to jump to hyperbole, but it's one of the most Drew Brees-esque throws that I've seen. It's fantastic. He does it on the same thing, in motion on a rollout, and he just delivers the ball right on the money to Callaway. I think if you recall the game, you'll remember the throw. But anyways,
it was a Ray route. Yep, I tried to cover that one on Cleveland.com stuff.
Yeah, just great placement and just amazing stuff from a rookie quarterback.
All right, guys, jumping back in early second quarter. This is a good timing anticipation throw from Mayfield again, coming out and empty. They're bunched to the top side here in trips. They're also sort of squoze at the bottom. They're bunched really both sides, but they're also in a tight alignment to the line of scrimmage, not the line of scrimmage, the offensive line as well. That creates two-way goes. It's a big part of the NFL game is keeping splits close, creating pathways. So why you do this here in this situation is you're going to define the reads for your quarterback. So Mayfield is going to read what we call this invert area nickel right here. Because pre-snap, based on where the corners are aligned in proximity to the second level of coverage, my mind is already thinking this is cover 3, right? If these two were pressed, I would be thinking more along the lines of cover 1, just man free is what we call that. And this is really good for Mayfield in terms of process and tempo and understanding where to go. Mike, thoughts on it?
Yeah, what I noticed right away is, you touched on this earlier, is with a shorter quarterback, you need to create alleys and lanes to rip the ball. And what I love from him, and I touched on this in my podcast this week, was the nuanced approach that Mayfield takes right there. You see it. He throws that shoulder. Yeah, he throws that shoulder, and I believe that's Dunlap. He gets Dunlap up in the air right there. Mm-hmm. You see him get up in the air right here. And then as soon as he's up, he's got the wide open lane. And like you mentioned, he just has to read the one player. As soon as he sees that he's going, towards the boundary, he knows he's got the curl right away. Just great anticipation, and once again, great accuracy under pressure, especially backed up there on the goal line.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of what Kitchens is doing. He's keeping these reads really simple for Mayfield, allowing him to pick sort of – sometimes he'll do mirrored concepts. I tried to write on this as much as I can and give explanations. Mirrored concepts mean the semantic meaning of it is you're going to get a mirror reflection. So what you get from routes on the right side or what you're going to get from routes on the left side, sort of the same thing, and allows your quarterback to pick a side. But what they're doing a nice job of is allowing Mayfield to make simple reads and quick decisions and play within tempo without having to think too much, which is really beneficial for him.
Yep.
Okay, so let's pause. Next play, 2nd and 10. This is back in the first quarter, but that's okay. We're going to backtrack a little bit. But this was another one that is really impressive timing anticipation. So 10 personnel empty, Duke's in the slot. They ran this quite a few times. A little bit more spaced out in the route design here in terms of pre-snap alignment. They are going to run a settle right over the ball by Higgins at number 3 here. They're going to run a slant, right, by number 2, a hitch up top, and then at the top of the field to the boundary side, you're going to have curl flat, right? So you're going to send Duke to the flat. You're going to get a 10-yard curl by Antonio Callaway there at the top, like I said. Really what they're trying to do here is read interior coverage. The Bengals did this quite often. I've seen it across the NFL this year where they're just saying we're going to man up on the outside. Our corners are going to run with the outside receivers, the Z and X, and then we're going to play a second-level zone coverage by our down defenders. Whatever this is across here, you guys are going to play curl hook and then curl flat, and we're going to play hook zones. And they're going to read routes. So they're going to do their best job reading routes as possible. They're going to play a single high safety over the field. So off the snap, what Baker is reading here, he feels it's justifiable to go to his settle slant, and he's just going to read perfect, right? He's going to get inside leverage by Landry, so that's an easy throw no matter what. The only thing that would stop this slant from being open is if Burfict drops into this window. So let's run it. Okay, all it takes is 2 false steps, chasing inside. If Burfict doesn't chase him inside, throw the settle, right? Or you would at least consider throwing the settle. So My eyes as a quarterback would say, okay, if Burfict chases squats out here, I'm going to look inside. Now this backside Will linebacker's robbing it. He could rob it. And then the natural progression, if we fast forward this play, would be can't throw here because it's robbed. And then you have a flat route coming wide open. So that would be what he would do. But off the snap, and we'll give you the end zone view because the end zone view gives you a good look at what he sees. Pay attention to Burfict, who is right here. Thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I had identified as well, minus the terminology, because you're a masterful genius with that. I just noticed that was the read, right? It's the linebacker read in the middle. As soon as he saw Burfict's hips turn and go inside, he knows that the route behind that is going to be open, and he makes that quick decision, and again gets the ball out on time and again in rhythm.
Yeah, and you can see his eyes, right? So right off the snap, catches the ball. Where are his eyes right now? It's on Burfict.
Perfect.
Does he take any step at all inside? Boom. Sees that one step. Where do his eyes go? Right now. Ball there. 1, 2, 3. Ball out. Loaded quick into a quick window. That's a pretty quick window. Boom. Big play. 14 yards. Nice game. Right. So pretty simple stuff, but that's what you want your rookie quarterback to grasp right away. If he doesn't quickly grasp that. Burfict has it covered right here. He's late with it. He might throw this ball and get Higgins crushed by this backside linebacker. So you want to see him recognize this stuff. Yes, and this comes back to the overall, well, they're playing bad defenses. Well, you play bad defense in the NFL. Not everybody can be an elite defense. When you play bad defenses, you got to pick them apart, and that's what he's doing. So this was good to see. He displayed it several times.
And I would argue that it doesn't matter how good the linebacker is. It's just, if your hips are facing the other direction, you cannot turn around if Mayfield is throwing the ball with this type of anticipation and quickness into that window. As soon as your hips are turned one direction, you're toast, and that's what Mayfield is reading. So I would argue that no matter who's playing that position, if he's facing that direction and Mayfield makes that read within the time that he's doing it right here, it's not going to matter. Yep,
great point. Doesn't matter. If the ball's out, it beats coverage, it beats blitz. It doesn't matter. Good point, Mike. Okay, guys, last play. We're going to look at this Baker's 4th touchdown pass. This is early in the third quarter following the Dalton fumble, or it was the Billy Price snap over his head. Browns are coming out in what looks to be 21, right? 2 backs, 1 tight end. Fells is your tight end down here to the bottom of the screen to the field. So the Browns are going to motion into what we call a drive concept, and I'll annotate this one for you because I think it's really fun. So what drive concept entails is a dig by number 2 traditionally. Now it can be run either side. There are variations to all of this stuff, but the principle is a dig, what we call a drive route, where he's going to get flat, draw away coverage. If nobody chases him in man-to-man, it's a good scheme to throw it to him and let him run into the end zone. They're going to run what some people call a swing route, some people call it a flare out of the backfield, and then they're going to run, some people call it an angle, some people call it a Texas route out of the backfield, top of the field. If he wanted to, he could throw this stutter fade to Callaway if he should so choose. The fun part is what you're hoping for is that this drive route takes this attention here from these two, right? And then you have the corner expand to cover the flare. And then you have this window right here for your angle route. That's the hope. And I think Baker gets caught hanging on too long here. So let's go through it. Off the snap, what I like is his eyes look like they're going where they need to go. His eyes right now are checking the drive. Is it man-to-man or not? He knows it's zone, but he doesn't know if anybody's going to chase the drive, right? Is anybody going to chase it? The Sam linebacker does a nice job of sort of redirecting the dig route by Fells, at least getting in the way. Doesn't touch him, but gets in the way. Drive route is not open, which he's not looking there, but if he tries to throw the drive, he's going to get crushed by the Will backer. That's fine. Well, he gets caught hanging on a little too long here, and I'm not sure why. Just it's football moves fast, man. Sometimes you miss stuff. Even the best miss stuff. He's hanging on here. I'm not sure if he wanted to feel like, is this corner slow playing the angle so I can throw the swing? And then he sort of decides late, because where this ball should be thrown is right now he should have worked back to this window right here.
Yeah, in the middle.
On the dig route, because there's nobody there. Yes, you have a backside safety, but his eyes are down here. And if this ball is thrown off the break right into this section – right? And you'll see from the end zone view, it's a touchdown off of structure. Now, I wrote about Baker Mayfield off structure. Mike's going to talk about how he does a nice job when things break down of getting outside of that structure and still making a play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see it time and time again, and you'll see it here. I mean, he goes through multiple reads. Like you said, he may hang on a little too late, but here he is kind of feeling the pressure or kind of senses Hubbard, pushing that defensive end past him, gets out, rolls out to the right, keeps his eyes up, and throws a pass perfectly, in the back of the end zone behind the defense. Again, you see this from him often.
Yep, and this window I was talking about. I mean, it's not easy to see. You have your tackle in your sight line here. You have a guard in your sight line here. You have Landry in your sight line here who's getting covered. It's not an easy play to make by any stretch, even for somebody 6'5". But that's where, if I'm sure Baker breaks down the tape he did on Monday, he probably saw this and thought, damn it, I missed this throw. I should have thrown it right here, because his eyes even kind of come back. He just doesn't locate that dig route. But like Mike said, nice job feeling the high side pressure, realizing, okay, my sort of right side guard working back to my left tackle have formed a nice wall here. I can escape to the outside through this, through this window here. And then after that, it's just making a play, just giving your guy a chance on a ball with nice touch over the top of the linebacker. And it's easy. It's too easy for him when he gets outside of structure sometimes. I thought he did a really nice job of locating this. He's got to be careful on some of these. He got picked off against Kansas City when he threw one without checking out in front of him. Sometimes these corners can bait and switch here. They'll bait you, they're staying home, and then they'll jump back inside. And if you recall, late in that Kansas City game, he got baited on one outside the structure. So, but otherwise he did a good job, and I think this was one of his better stretches of football. The anticipation we're seeing, the comfort within scheme, the speed of the game. I really love that play action concept where he held the ball behind his hip. That shows me that shows me that the game is slowing down. He's getting comfortable with under center footwork, all the above. So a lot to break down. We tried to get you guys 5 good clips to show you what the anticipation is looking like, what the ability to read progressions is looking like, what the ability to get the ball out on time is looking like. Tons of positive things. He's approaching where there are going to be some rookie records. Tough defenses coming up. You got the Texans, You got Carolina, you got Denver on the road in Mile High, you get the Ravens again in Baltimore. It's going to be tough, but I feel really good for the first time. I'm sure you would agree, Mike. The first time in a long time, I feel really good about our quarterback situation and about our franchise. What do you think, man? Yeah, absolutely. It's I called it the upside down on a recent podcast. I kind of don't really recognize what's real and what's not. It's this enigma that we've never been able to solve, and now here we have this quarterback, and I feel great about it. And talking about coming up this weekend against Houston, obviously it's going to be a stout defense. We're going to find out a lot about this team, and especially playing on the road again. And I'm going to be interested when you overlay the clips next week in the red zone. Houston's defense in the red zone isn't the best. I think it's actually one of the worst in the NFL, and we're operating at a really high level right now. So I think if we can, drive the ball and get down to the red zone, we're going to have some success. And, yeah, it's going to be a fun game. Yeah, no, I think it will be a really good test for them on both sides of the football. Obviously, the Texans' offense, led by Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, present a really good challenge for the defense too. But, we'll wrap it up, guys. I encourage you to look at Mike's work, Dawgs by Nature. He does his podcast with, John Colosimo and help me out.
Josh Finney. Josh Finney.
Yes, you guys do it. This Believe Land is your land. Hop on and look at that. It's under the DBN network, right? Yeah, correct. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us, you can find us all over the place. Good, man. Good deal. Yeah, look up his work, guys. Obviously, listen to the podcast. Follow on Twitter at Hawaii Browns Hui, right? Yep. I got it right? Yep. That stands for team. Yeah, it's a group. It's a gathering. It's Hawaiian for that. Yeah. That's cool, man. Well, good stuff, Mike. I appreciate you coming on, buddy. We will – as the year winds down, if I can keep carving some time out, we will get another one of these. If not, we'll get something in the offseason looking at prospects, brother. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. All right, brother. We'll be back next week, guys. As usual, go Browns.